This illusion of the self is the false self. The things you identify with are limiting you, they are restricting you. Welcome to the Miracle Frequency Podcast. The self is an illusion. What you call yourself, how you identify yourself, it is all an illusion. I remember being in a mastermind a few years ago with another woman who had been a nurse all of her life. And I remember the mentor, the coach that was helping us or guiding us, was really going into this identity piece. What do you identify with? Who are you? And this woman who had been a nurse couldn't see who she was beyond that. It was so much ingrained in who she was as a person, right? That she was a nurse, that she couldn't see beyond that. And it is so common for people to not know who they are without the masks, the suits of armor that they wear. You are not your job. You are not your business. You are not your marital or relationship status. You are not your possessions, your things. You are not a mother or not a mother, or father, not a father, a friend, a wife, a lover, all those things. Yes, those might be things that exist in your life, that are part of this life experience, but they are not the truth of who you are. We are conditioned to believe the illusion of the self, right? The illusion of the self. We are conditioned to believe that we are the things that we create in our life, right? So for myself, okay, a mother, a business owner, a partner, a friend, a daughter, a sister, all those things. These are all things that are a part of my life, but they are not who I am. They are not the true self. And you'll see this as well when people go through a big crisis, like let's say they get made redundant from a job that they've had for many years, or when people retire, or, when people get divorced and, they've been, say, in a relationship for 20 years and then they become single. People go through what we call this identity crisis, okay? This identity crisis. Now, what that is that they have been attached to a false self, taking some sort of comfort, safety, identity in these external things. You are none of those things. You are none of those things, and I'm going to prove it to you. So let me ask you, where you sit right now in this moment, where you sit right now, I want you to ask yourself, who are you, right? Who are you? Who is this self that you identify with? Who are you? And just let all the things come up. I know that they might be, well, I'm female, I'm this age, I'm like I said, a business owner, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. All these things might come to mind. How else do you describe yourself, right? So let all those things flow through, right? Who are you in this moment, right? Who are you? Who is this self? And then let me ask you, when you were 5 years old, who were you then? Who were you then? Because those identities were different, right? At the age of 5, you weren't a mother, right? You weren't a wife, you weren't a business owner, but you were still you. You were still the essence of you. And then let's go back even further, right? Let's go back even further. When you were born, who were you then, right? Who were you then? You were still you. You were still the essential self. You were still the source. You were still the conscious awareness. And so the question I like to ask is not, who am I? Because when we ask, who am I, we tend to attach labels. And I hate labels, right? Labels try and put you in a box. Labels try and identify you by societal standards and expectations. And that is always limiting. That is always limiting. So rather than ask, who am I encourage you to ask, What am I? What is the truth of who I am? And sit with that instead, right? What am I? And when you do this, take some moments, center yourself, close your eyes, connect into the body, feel the inner energy, and ask yourself, what am I? What am I? A human, yes, you have this human form, right? Are you your thoughts? Are you your emotions? Are you your beliefs? What are you? What are you goes so much deeper. You are source. You are the God force. You are the conscious awareness having a human experience projected out. You are source energy experiencing life on this planet. You are consciousness having a life experience, right? Having a life experience. This illusion of the self is the false self. The things you identify with are limiting you, they are restricting you. Because when you identify with external things, you cling to them because you believe that somehow your value, your worthiness, your purpose on this planet has something to do with those external things. And it doesn't. It has nothing to do with those things. Yes, you are here to have an incredible life experience and do amazing things. And all of those things that we talked about, being a business owner, a wife, or a mother, or whatever, they are all part of the life experience. But I was still me before I had my daughter. I was still me before I had my partner. I was still me before I had my business or this house or any of those things. The essence is still there. And the more we connect to the essence of who we are, what we are, right? Pure source energy, pure consciousness. The more we connect to that and the less we connect to the external, the more peace, the more joy, the more freedom we will find. Because when we attach to these external identities, like I said, we are seeking some sort of validation or approval or enoughness in those things. But who would you be without them, right? Who would you be without them? If you didn't have your business, if you didn't have your partner, who would you be, right? The deeper question, like I said, is what would you be? Right? What are you? That is the question I encourage you to ponder. What am I? Not who am I? And let's not get attached to the self, the false self, right? The thoughts. Let's go even deeper, right? If you think, okay, well, I'm not my job or all of those identities, labels that I wear, but then there are beliefs, there are thoughts, right? There are beliefs and thoughts that you identify with. That you believe are a part of who you are. But your thoughts are not your own. Your beliefs are not who you are. All of your your beliefs are simply thoughts that you've kept thinking, right? Your beliefs are thoughts that formed into slightly more solid form, if we want to express it that way. Your beliefs are conditioned by the past. And I heard someone say this once, and it's forever stuck with me. All of your beliefs will one day become limiting beliefs. Because no matter how expansive you believe your beliefs to be, what's beyond them? How are they still limiting you, right? How are they still limiting you? Anything you believe can one day become a limiting belief. All of your beliefs have been conditioned. Let's say, for example, I'm just going to use business as an example. Let's say you had a job and you were on a 6-figure salary, right? Then you start a business and you're like, okay, well, in a business, I'm unlimited. I could earn, I don't know, $500,000 a year. And you feel that that's expansive. I could work only 20 hours a week and make $500,000 a year or $1 million a year. And you feel that that's expansive. It's an expansive belief. And yes, it's more expansive than I need to work 40 hours a week for, say, $100,000 a year. Yes, it's a more expansive belief. But what's beyond that? What's beyond the $1 million year working 20 hours a week? When it comes to money, what's beyond that? We live in an infinite realm of potentiality. There are no limits. There are no limits. But when you form a belief about what's possible, you limit yourself. Now, all of your beliefs have been conditioned. They've been conditioned by the past, conditioned by those around you, your caregivers, your parents, your schooling, your upbringing, your experiences, your lessons. Everything is conditioning. So your likes, your dislikes, what you believe is important or not important, it is all conditioned by the mind. It is all conditioned by the mind, and it is not the true self. The true self goes beyond all of the beliefs, all of the limitations. The true self is absolute limitlessness, pure source energy. And the more you connect to that, and the more you disassociate with the things, the external things in your life, the more spectacular your experience on this planet will be. Because when you're not attached to how things should look, you are open to infinite experiences. When you are not attached to how things should be based on your likes and dislikes, you are able to be led down paths that you wouldn't choose, your personal self would not choose. You are so much more open. You are so much more expansive when you are not judging everything that comes to you. When you're not judging the things based on your likes, your dislikes, your wants and not wants, right? But the false self will keep you trapped. This illusion of the self, of who you think you are, all of the attachments to the external, whether they are people, places, or things, all of those attachments will keep you trapped, will keep you stuck, will keep you playing small. So this illusion of the self, of who you think you are, that is the part of us that we want to dissolve. That is the part of us that we want to dissolve. The attachment to all of those external things. There is so much power when you can sit in a place and go and believe and know, right? To know. Knowing's a better way to express it. When you can sit in a place of knowing that without my business, without my partner, without this house, without the car, without the money, without all the things, right? Without all the things, anything you attach to, my job title or whatever those things are, without those things, I am still consciousness. I am still source energy, deep inside, this inner energy, experiencing life on this planet. And when you have that knowing, that yes, I am always being led by this consciousness, by this higher self. I am always being led, and everything is unfolding for my best and highest good. It is not my personal self, my mind's job to know what that looks like. It is my job to dissolve the resistance to what is, to let go of that personal self that's judging every moment, and be open, remain open to what life is bringing me. Because that is where the magic is. That is my highest timeline. My highest timeline is to be open, and to not be attached, to how things should look, to how I want them to go. It is not to say that there can't ever be desires, but attachment is the downfall. You can have a desire which is, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? But it doesn't matter if it happens or not. There is no clinging, there is no attachment. You can have absolute deep gratitude for all the things that exist in your life, and they can be the people, places, and things, and absolute gratitude for them, but still not attached to them in their form. I absolutely love the house that we're in. I absolutely love it. I absolutely know I manifested this house. It has so much natural light. It is so beautiful. I love it. But I also know that I could be just as happy and at peace somewhere else completely. That my whole life or my whole existence isn't attached to these brick walls, right? That there are many places that could create magical experiences on this planet for me and my family. Right? There's no attachment. If it got burnt down tomorrow, I would have an understanding. I'm not saying that my ego, my personal self, wouldn't rise up and be upset in that moment, but I do have a deeper knowing that all things are always unfolding for me and they're always happening for a reason. So it's this or something better, right? It's this or something better. Because we are always being led, we are always being guided. But we need to dissolve the illusion of the false self, the illusion of the self, of who you think you are. Detach from all the people, places, things. You are not any of those things, right? Stop giving them meaning. Connect to the deeper meaning, the deeper consciousness within. That is where the magic is. That is where your true self lies, deep within, without attachment to the external. What am I? That's the question to ask yourself. What am I? I'm going to leave you with that today. I'll see you in the next episode.